Alright, guys. Story time. After doing the depression, dating, ADHD thing, that video, I want to talk about something different for the channel. As I mentioned in that video, horror movies that's my favorite genre. And I've been a fan of horror since I was like 6 years old. So, I've got 3 main horror villains that I love. And let's talk about my first one, Jason Voorhees, Friday the 13th. Now, there have been like 12 different actors play Jason. And the first one I ever seen was part 6, Jason Lives. And the actor was C.J. Graham that played him. Just seeing Jason's power in that movie. How that dude in the woods with the machete chopping the trees down or the limbs down. And Jason grabs him by the arm and slings him. And he goes flying into that tree. And when his face hits the tree, it leaves the smiley face. And then Jason's standing there looking at him and he holds up his machete with his arm still attached to it. And I was just like, whoa, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And I watched that movie at 6 years old. And I couldn't go to sleep. I was terrified. And I was like, man, Jason's real. He's going to kill me. you know? But no, and then I started getting them for Christmas. My mom would buy them. Mom and dad bought them for me for Christmas. A little at a time, And I love those movies. And it's been out now for 40 years. And they're still, they're not still going strong, but the fans are still keeping them alive with the fan films. And if you want to see a good Friday the 13th fan film, go watch Never Hike Alone and Never Hike in the Snow. 2 of the best I've ever seen. Things are awesome. I've watched them multiple times. But back to Jason. So the first Jason, which was in the original, where you see him drowning, he was played by Ari Lehman for that one. And then in the second movie, there was Warrington Gillette. They hired him, and he was a stunt guy. And he said, I can do my own stunts and all that. And then he comes careening through the window at the end, trying to get to Jenny. And after they filmed that scene, they hired someone else. They replaced him. Steve Dash stepped in. Rest in peace to Steve Dash. And that was my first introduction to Jason, as like a human, not a zombie. Zombie Jason is still my favorite. And that's probably sacrilege. A lot of people might be like, oh, you're full of shit, dude. And then Richard Brooker, iconic Jason. He passed away in 2013 of a heart attack. Rest in peace to him. Awesome movie. And if you watch that thing in 3D with those glasses, dude, freaking cool. It's so cool. It works the best of any of these 3D movies they've put out. And they give you the glasses for the Blu-ray. Part 3 of Jason works great. The 3D is really good. And then part 4 was Ted White. He played him in part 4. Gave Jason a whole new level of fear by running and moving faster. And then part 5. Part 5 was the imposter Jason. And they had 2 different people. The guy that played Roy just played the ambulance driver scene, where he finds his son hacked up, and then he's getting the bodies up after he kills the guys in the car. And then they had Tom Morga play what you see, the fake Jason that you see on screen. Walking much faster than the real Jason, and he was much skinnier than the guy that played Roy, the ambulance driver. And as a kid, I was like, this movie's weird. Gave it a whole whodunit scenario, and I was like, this isn't Jason. I don't care about this movie. Can't stand it. It's not Jason. But then, when I got older, and I watched it again, I found a new respect for it. I really like it. It's one of the more different Friday the 13th movies. And then part 6 was CJ Graham, the first one I ever seen. That's probably my second favorite. And then part 7 came along, The New Blood. The girl with the telekinetic powers. And Jason's actor for that movie was Kane Hodder. The Jason Voorhees. I don't care what anybody says. Kane is Jason. He will always be Jason. So for part 7 and part 8, Kane played him. And then part 9 comes along. Jason Goes to Hell. The final Friday. Very different from most of your Jason movies. All of them. And when I first seen it, Jason's only on screen for 2 sequences in the movie. And I was like, nah, it's cool, but not enough Kane. Not enough Kane Hodder as Jason. And then that ending, the fight scene at the end between him and the kid Steven, I've never seen Jason toy around with someone like that. Like, Jason would brutally destroy anyone that gets in his way. But this guy, he felt, okay, I'm going to play with him a little bit. And I don't see how that dude, if that was real, that dude would have been dead as soon as Jason touched him. And then Jason X came out. Kane Hodder as Jason. And I watched that movie. And some of the dialogue in that film, a little bit cheesy. But all in all, I think it's a cool movie. And for the future of Jason, I thought it was cool. And what I like about Kane Hodder as Jason is the fear he brought to Jason and the brutality of his kills as Jason. And Kane's favorite kill he's ever done as Jason is the sleeping bag in part 7. And I've heard Kane speak several times that he prefers the more hands-on kills almost without a weapon because it just shows the power of Jason. Okay, so Jason X, great movie, loved it, awesome. And then they announced Freddy vs. Jason's coming. Couldn't wait to go see it, couldn't wait. I was like, oh my god, finally we're gonna have this. And so, it comes out. I go to the theater to see it. And Jason comes on screen. And I'm watching the movie. And I was like, no. I mean, I've watched the movie, gave it a watch, because I paid money for a ticket, you know? And I was like, okay, this isn't Kane Hodder behind this mask. And I watched the credits. And it said Ken Kirzinger as Jason Voorhees. They replaced Kane Hodder. And I thought, he was good, but he's not Kane. But now that I watched that movie, I can respect what Ken has done as Jason. And I think the movie, for the story they tried to tell, it's a little bit wonky in certain areas. And it wasn't what it could have been. But still, a good fun movie to watch if you're a horror fan. And then 2009 comes around. And I'm at a buddy's house playing music. Me and my friend Josh that I told you guys about. We're at his house on YouTube. And this trailer pops up. And it says, new Friday the 13th reboot trailer, 2009. And I told Josh, I was like, dude, it's got to be fake. So we watch it. And I was watching it and I was like, oh my god. If this is real, it's going to be an awesome movie. And so I told Josh, I was like, oh, it's probably fake, dude. It's probably fake. But we'll see what happens, I get home that night after watching it on YouTube. And it comes up on TV. Friday the 13th. And I believe it came out February 12th, 2009. I went to opening day of that movie. And me and Josh and my parents, we went and watched it. And I left the theater feeling like $1,000,000. I was on top of the world. Jason's finally back. And Derek Mears played him in that movie. And I knew, it wasn't Kane Hodder as soon as I seen him. But his Jason, I really enjoyed. It was like he brought Jason back to what Jason was, And he still had the power behind him and the smarts. The smarts is what got me. Where like he finds Clay, the main character, Clay's bag, his hiking bag, and finds out that he's there somewhere. He goes over and flips on searchlights, like huge freaking searchlights that could spot anything in the woods, and is looking around the woods, just looking and watching. And I was like, Jason, people say, oh, he's a mindless zombie, he kills people. Jason's a lot smarter than you think. So he's my number one. I love Friday the 13th. I have a killer collection. Well, not really killer collection. It's getting there. Of Friday the 13th figurines. I have bought the new Blu-ray box set that came out. I've bought over the years. I've bought multiple DVD collections. I've bought all 8 movies individually over the years, multiple times. So Jason's just the man. I love him. And I know there's a lot of lawsuit crap going on right now with Cunningham and Paramount. But I'm hoping that someday in the future that all gets settled out and we can have one more Jason movie. So, my next horror icon that I love is Michael Myers. Now, Michael Myers set the stage for Jason. And no one ever argue that. Not even me. I would never sit here and say, oh yeah, Friday the 13th is its own movie. And Michael is just Michael. No, see, Friday the 13th is Halloween redone. It is. It's the same kind of movie, just a different premise. So, Halloween. Jamie Lee Curtis gets her first lead role in Halloween 1. Went on to become a huge Hollywood star. And then I watched all the Halloweens. I don't know most of the actors' names that played Michael. Let's see, I know Nick Castle was first. And then the second one was Dick Warlock. Part 4 was, what's his name? George Wilbur. Part 5 was Tom Shanks. Part 6 was George Wilbur again. And then H2O. I forgot the guy's name, I think. Yeah, I forgot his name. But then it's something Land, I think. But then Resurrection came out and it was Brad Laree. So, Halloween, my first Halloween movie was the original. My favorite Halloween is Part 6. I love that movie. It's so cool. I can watch it over and over. Now, Halloween's had its share of ups and downs. Resurrection, they were trying to go the whole internet thing. It worked out, I guess. But then, they did something to Halloween that I think is the stain on the series. Now, a lot of people may disagree with me that watch this video, but they let Rob Zombie remake it. You know what I feel like doing when I watch the second part 2 of Rob Zombie's movies? Look at the movie and just go, oh, no. So, Rob Zombie's first remake, I thought was killer. I loved it. Because it had, what's that guy's name? That played Michael Myers in that? Tyler Mane. Like 6'8", big, huge dude that played Michael, which that's his first mistake. Michael was never like a massive dude. Really tall. You had to be, I think the director and the producers, like John Carpenter and Deborah Hill, they said like, Michael Myers, you have to be at least 6'1" to 6'2" to play Michael Myers. But this guy was like 6'8". And then Rob did have Danielle Harris as Annie Brackett in his remake. And Danielle, when I seen her in part 4 and 5, I really loved her performance in those movies. Because, she was like the same age as I was when I first discovered them. Which by the time I was 8 or 9 years old, she was probably much older than me. But I was like, this little girl is strong, man. She's afraid of Michael, but she somehow finds the courage to make it and survive. And then they kill her off in part 6. And he slams her on a freaking farming implement. Come on, dude. And Danielle turned down the role to reprise her role as Jamie Lloyd in that movie because of how they killed her off in it. She thought, that's just not the way that Jamie should go out after everything she's been through with Michael. But anyway, so Rob Zombie's first one, I loved it. I watched it multiple times. I have it on Blu-ray, have the whole collection over here. And then his second remake comes out. Or not really a remake, it's his second version of it, like his sequel. I went to the theater with my cousin and his girlfriend to watch this movie. And we sat through this whole 2 hour and some odd minute movie. And when that thing went off, I got up and he looks at me and he goes, "What'd you think of that, dude?" And I was like, that was the biggest pile of shit I've ever paid money for. That was the worst Halloween I've ever seen. So I won't shit on it too much because there's probably some people out there that like it, but it's just not for me. And then Halloween 2018 was announced. And I was working at an old cotton mill, and I had a friend over there. He's a big Halloween fan too. And he was like, I was like, "Dude, Halloween 2018 is coming." And he said, "Probably fake, dude." And I was like, "You know what? You could be right." And then all of a sudden, there it is on TV. And David Gordon Green directed this movie. Jamie Lee Curtis came back to reprise her role as Laurie Strode. And I went to the theater twice to see that movie. And I love that movie. Like, Michael is like a machine in that movie. And the guy that played him, I forget his name, but he said he did research for the role on how, like, a hitman would operate. And that's where he got the way he did the kills from, or something like that. And I was like, wow, this guy that played him really cares about this role. He's almost like Kane Hodder as Jason. Because Kane would bring things forward, ideas for kills, or ideas of things that Jason wouldn't do or would do. Things like that. But Halloween, my second favorite horror series. I love those movies. All of them are good. The third one never really gets talked about. It's called Season of the Witch. And it's basically this owner of mask making company wants to kill all the kids in the world with these booby trap masks and a TV commercial. And it's called Silver Shamrock. And that freaking song, man, it'll get stuck in your head if you watch that movie, and it will be there for months. I can hear it right now as I'm talking about this. So, that's my Halloween stuff. Now, let's talk about my third and final favorite of the horror icons. Freddy Krueger. Nightmare on Elm Street. I seen that first movie when I was probably 8. And that was terrifying because Freddy kills you in your dreams, in your sleep. I was like, if I go to sleep, I'm going to die. I was just a kid, I didn't know. It was just a guy in makeup, and it was all special effects and all that stuff. And I watched all those movies. And my favorite two of the Freddy movies are the first one and Wes Craven's New Nightmare. And Wes Craven created that character, and rest in peace to him. I love Wes Craven's movies. Great director. So, then they announced that they were remaking Nightmare on Elm Street. And I was like, uh-oh, this could be bad. Or it has the potential to be really good. And as everybody that's a Freddy fan knows, Robert Englund has always been Freddy. He's played Freddy in every movie, even Freddy vs. Jason. And then this new one comes out. The guy's name's Jackie Earle Haley. And I watched the movie for the first time, and I was like, I don't really care for this version of Freddy. He's not funny like Robert Englund. He don't have his one-liners. He's got one-liner in the whole movie, which is, how's this for a wet dream? Really, really cliche. And I was like, that's not cool. Not cool at all. My phone's ringing in there. But I watched it again recently. I've watched it multiple times here in the last month or two. And you know what? Now that I see it now, I really enjoyed that movie. It's like Freddy is pissed off in this movie because of the things that were done to him, being burned alive. Stuff like that. Freddy's mad. He wants revenge on these kids, or on the parents, for killing him. So he's coming after their kids, and he's coming after them strong. And I can watch that movie now and thoroughly enjoy it. But Robert Englund will always be Freddy Krueger to me. And I'm hoping that someday they get Robert Englund to do one more movie. He said he wouldn't do it anymore. And he's retired the makeup of Freddy. And he did it one time for like a Broadway show or something. That could be wrong. You might want to research that. But I'm hoping that someday they do get Robert Englund back in that makeup and make one more great Freddy movie. So, to end this video, I'll name off a few other horror series that I really like. The Leprechaun movies. With Warwick Davis, I love it. The newer ones, they're okay. Let's see, the Hatchet movies. Great movies. Kane Hodder plays the main villain, Victor Crowley. If you haven't seen those, check them out. If you like blood and gore, it's for you. I like the Saw movies. They kind of got stale after the third one. Now let's see, what other movies do I like? Oh, yes, this one. The Exorcist. Now, The Exorcist is the first horror movie that legitimately gave me sleepless nights. I watched that movie once, and that I couldn't sleep that night. I went to my local store and bought me a copy on DVD. Like, it scared me so bad that I had to go buy that movie. And I watch it today. It doesn't bother me anymore. I guess I'm desensitized to it. But I really like it. That's one of my favorites too. Another horror series I like is Scream. I like the Scream movies. Another Wes Craven series. They're doing 5 without Wes Craven, which I feel like is, just leave it alone. And then, let's see, I like Child's Play movies. The new one is decent to me. The remake. I like that one pretty good. But I don't want to get this video going too long here. But if you guys watch this video, anybody out there that watches this, let me know what some of your favorite horror movies are, so that I can maybe see what's down in your favorite horror movies, and I can go and check some of that stuff out. Because I love to find new horror movies to watch. And I'm a really big fan of the B movies. Like, you see the gore and and it's fake. You can tell it's fake. The story is pretty shit. Most times. And, some of the killers are pretty cool, though. Like, I thought that's what Hatchet was a low budget movie. It turned into a massive thing, and you can get shirts of it now. I gotta get me a Hatchet Army shirt because I love Adam Green as a director and his story of Hatchet that he wrote, because he had this idea since he was like 8 years old. He wrote the story of Hatchet, and it took him almost 20 years before he was able to make the first one. Now, Hatchet, man, if you guys haven't seen that movie and that series, please go check them out. You won't be disappointed in it. I don't think. It's very cool. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what horror movies you guys watch, those of you that choose to watch this movie or this video. And everyone have a great day. Please like and subscribe. And if you do like horror movies and people call you weird or tell you you're a psychopath, you're going to be a psychopath because you like these movies and these movies are the cause of violence on others, don't let that shit bother you. People are full of shit. The only way a horror movie is going to, well, not really inspire, but make someone else a killer or a psycho is if they're already psycho to begin with. And all of us horror fans, we're looked at as different because we like the violent stuff and the blood and gore and killing and torture, like with Saw. But being different is so much better than being normal. So everyone, take that with you too. Have a great day. Please like and subscribe and keep watching the videos. I really like sitting down and talking like this. My ADHD is kicked in big time. I almost can't shut up. And I probably got my words all screwed up there a couple times, but that's just part of the struggle. So everyone have a great day. Please like and subscribe once again if you feel the need.